Official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano rods and reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And now, Southern California's sports fishing voice, the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Facebook, and YouTube Live. Pete Gray here, along with Rock Cod Rick Mexa in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here, right next to San Diego Landings. A beautiful day in San Diego, and it's a beautiful day here in the world headquarters with Michael Maloney. Just one of the legendary casting instructors that we're honored to have him in here, and along with our good buddy Cheer Krishlow, who's providing chauffeur services, and we'll get him including here. Talk a little maybe shogun fishing and fishing, but just a great time with Michael here, and just having a good time on Let's Talk Hookup, and giving away a couple of great prizes too.
Well, you're not kidding. If you didn't catch the beginning of the show, how cool is this? At the end of today's show, one lucky caller or texter, as always, we're going to decide it by the coin flip. At the end of the show, we'll let Michael flip the coin that's got the caller or texter emblem on it, and we'll find out who's winning a killer prize. One lucky caller or texter is going to win a brand new pair of Costa Del Mar sunglasses. This particular pair is the Blackfin 580 Pro Series. It's a black frame, it's a blue mirror lens, a really, really nice pair of glasses from our great friends at Costa. Along with that, you're going to get 2 tickets to attend the CCA barbecue event coming up on October the 11th at the Compton Rod and Gun Club. So a very, very cool prize. You're going to get a new pair of shades. You're going to get to go rub shoulders with a bunch of great fishermen and friends, and donate some money to CCA and enjoy a great barbecue lunch. And
maybe win some CalStar rods.
You never know, buddy.
Yeah.
You never know.
Again, if you want to go get tickets to that, ccacalifornia.org on the events tab. You can buy tickets right online there.
There it is.
So check it out.
Hey, we're going to continue on with our catch report. Find out what's biting. The private boater buddy is standing by. Captain Mark Wish of Pacific Edge has got our fishdope.com report today. That's sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get a premier processing experience. You can check out the easier online system to book your processing orders for your long-range trips. With more team members, Fisherman's Processing stays far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity, the finest in customer service. You can stop by their location in Old Town on Taylor Street or check fishermansprocessing.com and be sure you make your reservations today. We got him, the private boater buddies on the line. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Ricky, Pete, Michael, great show.
Good morning.
A lot of complicated stuff, man. I do not savvy that fly fishing stuff. Maybe one of these days.
It's easier than you think.
It is.
Yeah, we'll figure it out here one of these days, I guess. But hey, guys, definitely feeling like a little touch of fall outside, man. It's chilly. We had a little shower yesterday and got some northwest wind and very choppy conditions out there on the water right now. You guys going out, man, you want to be safe. Definitely in transition mode, but with that being said, we got a lot of good weather and biting fish in our future for sure. October and November is often great conditions, lots of fish there. On the outside, before this weather, both Nick and Santa Barbara Island got checked out, not too much. Sample of sea bass out there at Nick, and along with all the good bottom fishing, of course, and a few good grade yellows at Santa Barbara Island for one boat that checked that. Still plenty of squid at Santa Barbara Island, and that bodes well. As soon as our weather straightens out here, it can be really fine fall fishing up there at actually both of those islands. Catalina, still pretty fair kelpline critter fishing. It's a good sprinkle of good grade yellows, mostly backside west, mostly on the deeper structure spots. The squid you need to catch those yellows is still backside east, no shortage of bait there, which is good news. At Clemente, still some squid in the cove. Man, it's been there forever. And some of that big yellow hanging out on it, and more catchable grade up the front side. Those ones in the cove there, man, there's some beauties in there. And then before we head offshore, I got to mention about this rockfish situation. October 1st, the depth regulations changed again. We got to fish outside 300 feet. And it's not just exactly 300 feet. You got to be watching the lines and the waypoints that Fish and Wildlife has set up. You want to check the regs and be very careful about that, guys. But no more shallow water fishing actually until April 1st, because we got the long closure that starts at the first of the year. So adjust accordingly. And then let's see. So as to those tuna fish, the fish dope plane was up yesterday and looked at a bunch of bluefin close to home. This was kind of good news here. from just below the border down toward 302 and down a little more toward that 371 like that. Quite a bit of schools of bluefin in there, including some pretty nice ones. So hopefully with the weather a little bit of an issue right now, that stuff sticks around and decides to bite. That'd be good, because almost all the rest of it's pretty long ways away. Pretty good sized road trip to get to them. And then the marlin fishing, got to talk about that marlin fishing. It's been really, really good here for the past few weeks. Not every single day. They bite for a little bit and they quit for a day or two. But good God, there's been just some incredible fish. And some of the guys that understand how to fish for marlin are going to have some very impressive scores by the end of the season. But that general area has been from the 14, 267, and then west of there toward the east end of Catalina, across the steamer lanes and up to just outside the east end of Catalina. A lot of jig fish and a lot of eyeball fish. And the tough thing for fishing, using bait, most of the time we try to get those mackerels. And mackerels have been very tough to come by. It's been a real challenge to get them. But these fish are on small baits. They're on sorries right now. And, you can also use sardines, guys. Everybody thinks you got to have a mackerel. You do not. But you can fish a sardine on a smaller hook and a little bit lighter leader, like 60 pound, and they'll do okay with those mackerel. With those marlin when they're chasing the sorries around. And then for breaking news, we've got our number one fish dope guy, Danny Lynch, going to be filling in for me next week.
Hey!
Yeah. Yeah.
Danny Lynch, and you going fishing or something?
It's the or something.
Or something.
Okay, got that fine.
It's not exactly field research, although I'll be doing the best I can to figure out something like that. But yeah, we'll give you a report when I get back.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to be way out of town.
All right.
And
we'll have fun.
Danny will be filling in, and I'm sure he'll take good care of you guys next week with the Fish Dope Report.
That's fun.
All right. Well, and of course, fishdope.com, $30 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup Now, lowercase, no space, $30 off, a must-have, fishdope.com. And Mark, how do we find you?
Well, in about a week or so, you're going to find us on the corner of Bolsa Chica and Edinger. Phone number at the store, 714-840-4262. The website, PacificEdgeTackle.com. But call first, because we're going to be gone for a little bit, guys.
All right.
Call first before you come by.
Have a great trip, Mark, and we will talk to you in a couple of weeks. We'll talk to Danny next Saturday.
You got it. We'll see you guys.
See you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that.
That's awesome. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our catch report
we
today.
We actually have Rosie.
Oh, hey, all right.
St. Rose Sport Fishing. Good morning, Rosie.
What's up, Rosie?
Good morning. What I want to know is Danny Lynch going to do the fish report for California here or Florida?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, get a little combo.
Florida.
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't mind the fish report from Florida. I would like to see what they're catching down there.
Yeah, for sure.
So there you go.
Well,
and what are we catching?
What are you catching?
We're catching a bit of the same thing. We the yellowtail never stop, nor do the calico. And this week it's been a tough on the bait. We've been really tough on catching bait. So everything has been on surface iron and plastics. And we had a couple personal bests again this last week. A dad took his two kids, 18 years old. One caught his personal best 40-pound yellowtail, and another with a 37-pound yellowtail. So we were happy to see that. And one thing that I wanted to bring up real quick is we have two storms that are heading up our coast.
Yes.
And
just in time for our Let's Talk Hookup Palmas de Cortez trip next week, by the way, I might add.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. So, but one thing I wanted to bring up is, obviously I always have customers ask, should I get trip insurance? And yes, you should get trip insurance. And not necessarily just for the storms or something like that, but for many other things. But right now with these two storms that are coming up, I just want to let everyone know that I called Bob and Christy, and there is something called interruption of service. So today the harbor was supposed to be closed today. And we had a group that went down yesterday. that were like, we're not going to be able to fish. That's 25% of our fishing. We're not going to go. And I had talked to Christy, and she said, look, they have interruption of service. If they miss a day, as long as we can make sure we get the paperwork right from them saying that the harbor was closed, they will reimburse you for that.
That's
okay?
awesome.
But the other thing I want to say is these guys all end up going down. 7 were going to cancel. They actually ended up showing up at the CBX yesterday. They all went down, okay? As of yesterday afternoon, the weather turned for the better, and they're fishing today.
Great.
So,
That's awesome.
Yes. So I just want to, heads up everybody out there, get your trip insurance.
Yep. Dawson Insurance
depending
Services.
on,
Call
it's
Christy,
a couple
they're
$100.
the best. Yeah.
Yes, and of course, what
And
do I
it
get
lasts
this
the entire
morning?
year for all your trips. That's the thing, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and this morning I've already got text from Javier. There's a family of 4 out there catching yellowtail on surface iron. Now they're already heading around to go try to catch some calico bass.
Well, so are there any availabilities the rest of this year, Rosie, to come down there?
No availabilities this year. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There could be one in a couple of weeks. So if you are interested in going in a couple of weeks, please give me a call. If not, I am starting to open up all the trips for next year. You can't see all the trips. We're still waiting for some people to get if they're returning figured out, but I will cut that short here in November. All the trips will be open. We have got 66 trips next year.
Wow.
66 trips for us next year.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be getting those all online, but please call if you have any questions. My phone number is 619-772-7570. You can look at the trips that are available right now online at cedrosportfishing.com, but I'll be getting all the rest up here pretty soon.
All right. Thanks, Rosie. Appreciate the report, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.
You got it, you guys. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Rosie. All right. Well, now that's going to wrap up our catch report, and we appreciate that very much. Brought to us by Norrisk Lithium. Hey, they are the ultimate choice for marine adventures. Norrisk Lithium, and it delivers unmatched starting, trolling, and electronics power. Norrisk batteries are packed with the cutting-edge technology. You can upgrade your marine power today. Set up your system at norrisklithium.com or go see the trolling motor doctor.
Yeah, and they at norrisklithium.com, they have the variety, whether you want a trolling motor battery, a starting battery, or just one to power a small fish finder or electric
reels coming so popular now. That's the beauty of lithium. They weigh nothing, so you can have a reel that you can have a battery that will power your electric reel all day, whether you're taking advantage of this deep water rock cod fishing that just opened up, you're doing swordfish deep drop and you don't want to run. You can get a small Norrisk lithium
3
battery
pounds.
that weighs virtually nothing that will operate your reel all
for
day long.
$130.
There you go.
$130 it'll operate your battery and probably it for days. Yeah. I have a little Norrisk, like a 40 amp in Montana for my boats, and literally I ran it for 5 days and it's still on full charge.
That's great.
We'll take that. Big Lowrance, like a full size Lowrance screen. 5 days. And it didn't even drip.
I love it.
Didn't even dip. So, yeah, norrisklithium.com. They're the best. They're more expensive, but they're worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason why they're more expensive.
You're not having to rebuy it every other year.
And they're built to last. They're safer. All about them. Norrisk Lithium. Check them out for sure. You have a great text, huh?
I got quite a few of them. There's as it's no surprise, there's a lot of texts that are lined up for Michael. I thought this was a fun one. It says, good morning, guys. I saw a group of guys fishing Dorados with their fly rods, and I always thought it was so cool. I realized there's different weights of line you can use to target many fish in different depths. My question for Michael is, what is your bucket list fish to catch? And then also, what is your most proud achievement fish-wise on the fly? That's from Jeff in Huntington Beach.
Well, my favorite fish, because I like aerial things, has always been tarpon. So I was lucky enough to start catching those at a young age and so forth. And I think probably not the word proud, but I started chasing some fish over in Hawaii that nobody told me I couldn't do. I was starting to chase small billfish, And I think that was interesting. And, and then...
That was at a time where that just wasn't done.
Well, nobody knew about it. I mean, you had people down in like Doc Robinson who did sailfish out of Mexico and stuff like that, and a few other people. But, I never thought, again, I didn't know about professional fly fishermen. Nobody told me I couldn't do something. So what's the worst I'm going to do is lose a fly? So we tried to figure out how to do something. Then, of course, 15, 20 years later, saltwater fishing became very vogue in fly fishing for California. But you could talk about the East Coast people, and I used to fish for Atlantic sails, which is nothing. They're 35 to 75 pounds. But I still like tarpon, and I remember...
They pull hard.
Well, they do, but I like the aerial, and also they're a tough fish. And Lefty, we were talking about this one, Lefty always liked bonefish. And he said, why do you like tarpon? I said, I'd like to see them jump, and usually they're pretty tough fish. I can release them quickly and try to get them away from the bull sharks, because when there's a lot of racket going on, the bull sharks will come, they'll cut that fish right in half. And that always bothered me, that I would lose a sport fish on that. But I've caught pretty much everything I've wanted to catch. And,
cool.
It's been a long time. And the other thing is, I had a terrible reputation as a young person of bringing in a fish hot because I wanted to release him healthy. So one of the fish came up with a nice tarpon one day and pretty much almost broke my friend's face. He blamed me for that.
Into his face.
But anyway, no, I've learned to enjoy. Super quick story. A guy ran into me about 6, 7, 8 years ago on the Big Hole in Montana, and he goes, Mr. Maloney, how are you? So I looked at him, I said, look, I don't know my kids' names, I don't know my wife's name, and I don't know who you are. And tell me who you are. He said, well, you gave me a free casting lesson in Atlanta 25 years ago. Free? No money? He goes, no.
Hey, you got the wrong guy, buddy.
Yeah. And I said, are you going to pay me now? Anyway, he told me that he'd been fishing since, and his wife kind of hated me. I said, well, I don't think I've ever met your wife. He goes, no, but I spend a lot of money every year fly fishing. And I said, I've always remembered your words. You taught me how to fish in the middle of a parking lot. I couldn't believe this guy from California. And then you said, you're going to have to share it. So I've tried to teach as many people as possible. I said, you just made my day. So I said, well, this isn't really a big deal. I said, it is a big deal. For me, I said, this has made my whole year that you stopped, took time enough to say hello, and tell me a story that I don't remember these days just because sometimes I have a little ill period. So that's really
cool.
The biggest thing for me is having somebody come up and say, I had a lesson from you. Then I gave a lot of free lessons.
Yeah.
You left a lot on the table, buddy.
So speaking of which, you are, you had Think Common Sense for years, consulting with major corporations around the world. You're done with that.
I am.
You're done with that. And you want to get back to your roots and teach people how to fly cast.
Yeah.
So how does somebody get involved with learning to fly cast from
the master,
Mr. Maloney?
If you've got questions on anything, first of all, I'm not necessarily need a lesson, but I'm trying to stay away from airports. I mean, I'd had a couple quiet years just because I'd been ill. So, if you have any questions, first of all, you can always reach me if you've got a pen and paper at 805-389-5306. And if you have a question on anything to do with fly fishing, I've got an email that is Maloney Flycasting, one word, @gmail.com. Maloney Flycasting. MALONEY FLYCASTING @gmail.com.
Okay.
But please, I love to hear. I tell people it doesn't cost you a dime to call me, and I'll try to give you some good advice. I don't need you to spend a lot of money if you're up front for the first time. But I said it's been a great life for me, and I see things a little differently. I was fascinated the way the line flew through the air. It was like an airfoil. So my dad, who was in aviation most of his life, when I told him about it, I said, don't look at the fly, Dad. Look at the shape of the fly line. And he goes, you like to watch the fly line go through the air? He goes, have you become simplistic? No, I just enjoy casting. So, those are just fun, simple things to do. And fly casting is one of the few things you can do for the rest of your life. You don't have to chase big fish. You can chase trout or panfish, which is great. I think
surf fish.
Absolutely. And you've got the beach right here, which is really super. But, life moves quickly. So
if somebody's into saltwater fishing, they're a regular listener of Let's Talk Hookup, and it's something that they wanted to add to their repertoire, fly casting, how long does it take? Like, how long how many sessions does a guy need to go and meet with Michael before they can be plenty proficient enough on their own to go out and do some fly casting and catch some fish?
You know, if you're really into it and you like it, you can learn how to cast a fly in one lesson. I'm not saying it may be pretty, but you'll get the fly where it needs to go for what you want to accomplish. And, you know, I never do any lessons except for tournament casters of more than 2 or 3 lessons. That's it. Then I will send you off to Long Beach Casting Club or Pasadena or whomever. I want you to experience other instructors because, you know, communication is really important. And I'm well known for being a simplistic communicator so you understand me. But it's always nice to talk to other people and learn different things. So I don't do a lot of long-term stuff because I don't think it's good, you know. But also, the number one issue that also is that a lot of people will come to me and they've been fly fishing for a number of years and they have mistakes built in. Well, I don't want you to spend your money having me correct those mistakes. Go to Long Beach or Pasadena and get rid of those things. And if you want something that I can help you with, call me. But, you know...
What's the biggest mistake you see?
Great question.
Fly casters.
Without question is overpowering. Overpowering. And, you know...
Trying to hit it, trying to throw it too hard.
They do, and it opens up the loop and blah, blah, blah. But the other thing is that, you know... People get a little frustrated because there's little simple things when you're a beginner. You start to break your wrist and move the rod, and we keep a firm wrist. Well, that's not important. That's no big deal. You're still casting.
You can still break the wrist and make a good cast.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
But what you do ultimately when you really get down the line is that you don't want that broken wrist to take one bit of power away from the rod because you're letting the rod handle the fly line. It's really going back to the rod. The way you put power in is what it gives to the fly line, and then the fly line gives it to the fly. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what's really simple about this. And it's like when I had talked to somebody about building bigger rods, Joe Fisher, God love him, out of Nevada, and I called him up and I said, hey, I need
great rods.
Yeah, I need a favor. He just chuckled. A flawless gentleman, he and his brother, and he said, I'm looking for a 13, 14, 15 weight. And there was this pause. He goes, Michael, you got to quit this stuff. You really got to. I said, anyway, but I also asked him I said, I need graphite and glass. He said, Michael, those two materials better than anybody hate each other. But I said, Joe, if anybody can put it together. So we put some prototypes together, and he created his own fly line out of some great ocean rods. But,
So graphite and glass together, better for an ocean rod than like a lighter rod.
Well, and now it softened the thing up. I mean, we were dealing with some big stuff. When graphite came out later on, it became very stiff. And if I'm casting, I don't want a stiff rod. I want to be able to feel a rod. It doesn't have to be super bend, but I'm old school, so I don't need a stiff rod. Stiff rods don't allow you to do certain things. It's like when they first came out with Fenwick in '74, and I'm up at Mel Krieger's, great casting legend. He says, ask Mr. Maloney his opinion of graphite. And so I said, well, it takes time away. It'll help correct a lot of people's mistakes. Also, it takes learning away because this will help. Well, you know how markets are, trends, things come and go. So we have different looks, we have different actions. And I think fly rods have gotten, in some cases, too stiff in certain things. But you want to be able to feel things. It's not that they have to be soft, but you want to like them. And so when I was dealing with really strange big rods, I said, I need to feel this. And also, if I have a really great take, that fiberglass would absorb some of that energy and also make it a better caster. Is that too much information?
No, it's all good information. Chair Krishlow is in the studio here. Chair, step up the mic and put the mic on. We're going to put you on the spot here.
What?
All right. How'd you meet Michael?
Back in San Diego State days. We were going to school together, and we were on the same surf team, the San Diego State surf team. And we used to party a little bit together.
Did you now? Did you now?
A little bit.
Yeah, and surf. Yeah. And then you went on to become a world-class surfer.
Yeah.
Winning lots of contests.
Yeah,
he's very humble
back
about it.
in the late 60s and 70s,
Yeah. I have a shirt that he gave me on the back of, there's a picture of him hanging 10 on the Hanson surfboard logo there, which is,
very fun.
And if you still go by the Hanson shop today, you'll see his picture on the front. Fabulous.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's in the sign.
Yeah.
That's cheer in the sign.
Yeah. That's cheer.
A museum piece.
A museum piece. So Cheer, you're obviously, I've fished many long-range days with you aboard the Shogun and local fishing, had you on my boat and such like that. Has Michael brought you to the fly side yet?
You know what? That's a good question, because last night we were out at my favorite Mexican restaurant. Which is Tony's up in Eden Gardens, Solana Beach. And I don't know anything about fly fishing. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. I've got this great friend who's world class, and I don't know anything about it. So I'm asking him all these neophyte questions, you know, like, what is this? What is that? And he's so gracious. He's answering, and I can see his eyes rolling like, who is this idiot? But no, it's such an artful, beautiful thing. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, and I want to give it a try. My wife was there, and she's going, "Oh, great!
Oh, great!
Here we go again. More money.
Here we go again.
$1,000 rocks, right? Yeah. But when's your next trip?
The Shogun trip coming up in a couple weeks.
The Let's Talk Hookup
That's
7-day.
Yeah. Well,
you excited about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope the yellowfin are the same size as they were last year. Those 40 to 80 pounders down there.
Perfect.
Well,
I hope.
I got some good news for you, buddy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really good.
Is it?
Yeah, that 7-day fishing has been great again. Royal Polaris just came back yesterday or the day previous, and again, great trip. I know the Royal Star came back this morning. Both the same thing. That the fishing on the ridge, boy, the last couple seasons has just been so good. Big yellowfins, big yellowtail. A really, really good yo-yo jig fishing for, big yellows on the last couple of trips. The wahoo fishing was there, and in typical wahoo fashion, this is the time of year where the stars kind of have to align a little bit with pressure. If your trip happens to be going down when others are coming back up and the rocks have had rest for a few days, all of a sudden there's a great score, and if you're there and everybody else is beating it up, that fish is still certainly available. The one thing about the ridge wahoo this year, though, is there's some giant ones.
Big ones.
Really, really big ones. It's definitely been a quality over quantity on the last few trips, but a 70-pounder has not been an odd fish this year. I mean, there's been a lot of really big ones, so you guys are in for another great trip. But yes, the quality of yellowfin, fantastic. Quality yellowtail, fantastic. You guys are going to have another really good trip.
Michael, speaking of wahoo, that seems to be the target of many, many anglers like myself, like Cheer, like
too.
Ricky, everybody. You ever caught one on a fly?
Yeah, in fact, I was going over the archives because I couldn't remember the last time I was here. I think it's almost 10 years with
Has
Greg.
it really been that long?
So all of a sudden I remember this story, which I had told then. And yeah, I did, because there were some wahoo. We were down in Mexico. And of course, I'm looking at these fish, and I said, I can try this, because I was trying anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said, well, what's the problem? I said, my drag. I said, he's going to hit it at 35 miles an hour. So I don't want the drag. I don't want the reel to overspin, whatever you guys call it.
Bird's nest.
Bird's nest. I need it just to stay in tight, but not so much that it snaps the leader. And I had a wire leader. So anyway, I cast it out there, and I put it way out there, and I start double hand. I tuck the rod under here, and I start doing hand. And here comes this guy, and it's like a super nautilus just flying through here, and he hits it. And I'm just looking, I'm pointing the rod right at that fish, because I don't want any drag, I don't want any friction, I want nothing, because I have no idea. He stays on. Then, of course, as you know, they start to run for a while, and they start to burn out. So I brought it in. It was like 35, 38 pounds.
Woo.
And I'd caught some other ones, but the only reason I caught them is, and I'm not a fish eater, because my mother made me eat fish every Friday, being Catholic. So we would catch wahoo because it was such a good eating fish, because somebody else that we were with would want it. But, I was doing, when you told somebody you caught a fish and you had proof, and I said, I don't think in that realm of I need proof, but nobody wanted to chase wahoo, and I'm sure somebody else had done it with a fly rod.
Yeah.
But I just did fun, crazy stuff because I did it for me.
Yeah. It's cool. It's fun. I know Nick Kirchione used to love to chase wahoo.
Yeah.
Nick used to love to chase all kinds of stuff.
Funniest guy. He would tell jokes, and I told Lefty once.
Nick was a crack up.
Yeah, I mean, I could fall on the floor. He was so funny.
Is he still around?
He is.
Yeah,
and
I think he is. Yeah,
he is.
Great guy.
He is very.
Very. So, and a very accomplished angler too.
Very.
Talk about fishing with Flip Pallet. What was that like? We recently lost Flip. And I mean, before I ever even dreamed of becoming a fly fisherman, I used to watch Walker Cray Chronicles like all of us did, right? And Flip kind of turned people on to that. What was it? What was Flip like?
He was exactly what he was like on, and I didn't watch the program except when Diane, his wife, was on. And I just don't watch certain things. I don't read fly fishing books, but we fished the Indian River. We fished, just local stuff, little baby tarpon in the Mosquito Canal, stuff like that. So we just hung out. We didn't need to go chase something. We've been there, done that. So we just enjoyed each other's company. He's just a really nice human being. But I got to tell you a funny story. So he said, you sleeping long these days? I said, no. He said, you want to go to Walmart with me at 4 a.m.? Sure. So anyway, because, he wakes up early, and so we go to Walmart at 4 a.m., and he sends me over a couple aisles to get something. I said, can't find it. He goes, I'll be over there in a second. So he comes over to my aisle, and then on the other end of the same aisle, there's a woman coming in at, like 4:15, and all of a sudden she goes, holy blank, it's Flip Pallet. So she runs over and she goes, oh my gosh, I love Walker's Cave, blah, blah, blah. And the great thing about Flip, if you were talking to him, he made you the center of the universe, a real gifted person. So he said, can I get your autograph? He goes, well, I have a pen, but I don't have a paper. She grabs a box of Sugar Pops. And he tells a story. I don't think he remembers it was with me, but he signs the box. And she just says, I told my husband you'd have come. So, but that was one of the great things. In fact, I had gotten my first, we were walking the show once at Denver or something, and some young man had walked up to me and asked me for my autograph. And I'm thinking, most people don't know me, and there's a reason why. I don't have any media or whatever. So I said, thank you, and I signed it nicely. And he goes, Jim, I said, do you know who this guy is? No. So, but, Flip, I could see 20 people wait in line for his autograph, and he continued to make you the center of the universe. And cool. And he was fun, too, because Diane had asked me for a lesson, and Diane had lessons from Lefty, and she was kind enough to ask me.
That's his wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we're out in front of the house in Mims, and all of a sudden, he's in the bushes looking at us. I said, hey, you don't look. Go back in the house. But, and a fabulous fisherman and a fabulous caster.
I love that. That's a great story. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming away, including more of your great text messages, more great stories with Michael. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Facebook, and YouTube Live.
Ready for the largest event in our history.
A story
Saturday,
not to be
November
repeated.
1st, it's Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. We'll have great savings from Daiwa on Saltist, Saltiga, and the entire electric reel lineup. A fantastic offer on the Proteus rods and SK jigs, too. Over 20 manufacturers reps, including Daiwa, plenty of seminars by saltwater experts, huge raffle, and most of all, incredible deals on tackle. Up to 60% off. Tackle Day at Fisherman's Landing, Saturday, November 1st. The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing offers great half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the Liberty. Many trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com or give us a call. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Time to talk about great gear from Shimano. Speaking of Wahoo, what's your go-to there, Cheer Crislow? What reel are you using?
I think that I'm going to be using a Tranx 500.
Tranx, I love the Tranx 500 for that.
I like it. Easy casting, level line, fast. Great with when you're casting a lot of spectra or you don't want a lot of stretch, getting that hook into the Wahoo. I think it's a great choice.
Yeah, I would. And, that Tranx 500 has the power, too.
That's right.
Yeah, and the speed, right? Because you want the HG.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, but either that or a Trinidad 20.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Trinidad 20. Throw it out there. Maybe have one for a bomb, one for the jig, right?
Exactly.
Something like that. Well, check it out. Tranx 500 or the Trinidad 20 at your local Shimano dealer.
This is Captain Tim Ekstrom from the long-range vessel Royal Star. With my partners Randy Toussaint and Brian Sims, we have set the bar for the long-range fishing experience. Spring 8-day, summer 5-day, or fly-down, fly-back 11-day winter trip, we deliver the highest quality long-range voyage you will find. From our premium RSW fish storage to our top-of-the-line chefs and crew, Royal Star distinguishes itself from all others. Want to grab a spot on the Royal Star? Check us out at RoyalStarSportFishing.com or call Tracy at 619-224-4764.
For your next fishing adventure, check Point Loma Sport Fishing. They offer half-day and full-day trips daily, perfect for families and the novice or seasoned fishermen. Point Loma Sport Fishing also offers overnight to multi-day trips, targeting the best of seasonal catches. Visit PointLomaSportFishing.com, where you can purchase tickets online and get more information on the trips available, or call 619-223-1627. Want to go fishing? Point Loma Sport Fishing has you covered.
Hi, this is Christy Wheeler with Dawson & Associates Insurance, your full-service agency specializing in boat insurance, including charter, commercial, and personal use boats, business insurance, and travel insurance. We work hard to get you the most coverage for the best prices and guarantee the lowest rates available on all the travel plans we offer. So give us a call today at Dawson & Associates Insurance at 619-460-5615 for a free quote today.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. What a fun time this has been with Michael. Yeah. Great stories, great information, lots of good times. If you want to join us, man, there's still time. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us a text only through the Let's Talk Hookup app. Make sure you include your name and phone number when you do.
Yeah, and again, MaloneyFlycasting.com with a Y.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Flycasting.com. And if send them an email and ask them about having them improve your casting. Your technique and everything about that. He is a master at it, and he's taught some of the best in the world. Cheer, you mentioned that there's a spot left on that Shogun trip to go with you. It's our Let's Talk Hookup trip. It's at the end of October, right?
Right.
What's the date?
What is the
October 22nd, is it, I believe?
No, let me see.
Yeah, but anyway, there's a spot that it's been sold out for a year.
It's 23rd to the 30th.
23rd through the 30th. Ron Lane is hosting the trip. He's going to be our Let's Talk Hookup representative.
Host.
Yeah, and Eddie's coming out.
Eddie's coming out.
All right.
Taking my stateroom, or you're taking my stateroom.
I'm taking
it. It's a great trip. I've been on it many times.
So
and a great group of people too.
Wonderful group of people.
Really good group of people. So if you want to go, check ShogunSportFishing.com and jump on that trip, or just call the office there. 226-8030-619 area code. Talk to Jen or Monica in the office there, and they'll set you up for that. Grab that spot, because that, like I say, that is a rare one. Absolute prime time on a 7-day, and it's biting. So if you want to go with a great group.
That trip has just seen so many good things over the year, too. I mean, it's taken advantage of unbelievable big bluefin fishing in the big bluefin arena, all the excellent trips down to Guadalupe, the good fishing on the ridge. It's seen great yellowfin. It's seen great yellowtail. Yeah. You said it, it's prime time. That is the best time to be going on a trip of that length.
No doubt about it. Well, speaking of prime time, coming up this coming week, it's our Let's Talk Hookup Palmas de Cortez 31st annual Rich Top Deb Veros Memorial Tournament. And Chris Moyer from Smokey's Curing Company and Cantina is on the line. Good morning, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Pedro, Rick, Mike, buenos dias, guys.
What's going on, man?
Oh, man, you guys, the tuna bite's going off down here. I mean, it's been just unreal. Literally limit every boat. By limits, I mean 5 per guy. And they're not too far. They're 20 to 40 miles out. Anywhere you go, you can go straight out of Los Barriles. You can go out Pescadero to the north. You can go to the south. So they're everywhere. You just basically just head out to find the porpoise, and you're in, man. And I missed last week. I had texted Rick. I apologize. I was traveling, and I got mixed up with the time zones and everything. But I wanted to talk about the tuna wahoo shootout at Palmas de Cortez the previous Saturday, and I was on the show, and I had predicted that, because most of the tuna we're seeing are in the 20 to 30 pound range, and I had said, well, somebody could get a 50 or 60, it's going to look pretty good. But and most of them, we really didn't get a lot of there was plenty caught, just not too many big ones, but a 269 was caught. That was the tournament. Yeah. So I was a little off on my prediction. But so as far as currently, 20 to 40 miles out, and just go find the porpoise. And so I was going to say, yesterday it slowed down a little bit, the bite, but I talked to a lot of different anglers yesterday, and they were saying, hey, man, we were in them. they were jumping everywhere. We just couldn't get them to bite anything, and that's half the battle, as we know, is just finding them, and it's fishing, not catching. So, go get them today. I'm sure they'll try to get some hungry ones today, but they're out there. There are plenty of them, and so it's great tuna fishing. As usual this season, man, the rooster fishing bite continues to impress. If you want to, you can get your tuna early and then come inshore and fish for rooster fish. And man, the sailfish and the blue marlin bites actually really, really going off as well. It's crazy. This year there's so many blue marlin. I mean, and we're not seeing a lot of stripers. Usually the stripers are like ants out there. And so it's really about the sailfish and the blue marlin. So that's really exciting. It's been a really disappointing Dorado bite, all year. So there's really not a lot to report there. But and there's not many wahoo. But tell you what, gearing up for the tournament, guys. There's lots of tuna, Pedro. There's lots of tuna and billfish and roosterfish. So
okay, and
it's going to be good.
There's a couple of little chubascos on the way. Fill us in on that. How's it looking?
Well, we're obviously keeping a close eye on it, but it looks like we're going to be missing a few days of fishing, maybe 6th, 7th, and 8th, and hopefully it'll be great for the tournament. And then there's one right behind that, but we just have to watch day to day. The predictions are that, it's not going to be great, but it looks like it's not a direct hit. And, we know that Hurricane Pedro is going to be rolling in next week, so we don't need another.
Yeah,
we don't need another one.
But it looks like it's kind of staying west, right?
Yeah. It was trending more eastward. Now it's trending westward, and it, as of now, it doesn't look like a direct hit, and it kind of looks like we're going to be on the outskirts, which would be great. And
we arrive on the 9th, so if it gets out of there by the 9th, we're good, right?
Exactly. And like I had spoke to you, Pedro, I have a family wedding to attend on. I was supposed to leave Wednesday, and I don't know that. I don't think they're going to make that because it doesn't look like it's going to be the airport will be open. But I wanted to tell you, Pedro, we're going to do for Saturday the 11th for the tournament. We're going to do our first. We haven't done rib night in a couple months because we don't usually do them too much in the summer because the town's thinned out. But we're going to have rib night for the crew, and it's going to be awesome, man.
All right, Saturday the 11th.
Cool.
That sounds like fun.
That's right.
Save us a table.
Right. You got it.
All right, Chris. Well, hey, if somebody wants to book Vaquera, very, very popular boat, or check out the great smoking or fish processing opportunities, or just come to Smokies, how do we do that, Chris?
Okay, you can call me at 858-231-1358. You can email me at BajaSmokeDog with 2 G's at Gmail, or get a hold of me at VaqueraSportFishing.com.
All right. Thanks, Chris, and we'll see you on Thursday down at Palmas de Cortez and of course, Smokies, and we'll look forward to your report next Saturday.
If I don't get a picture message of a cold Pacifico and a shrimp taco, you and I, we're gonna have. I'm gonna have some real issues. I need it. I need to live vicariously through the both of you two, and I need that.
Absolutely.
Have fun.
You got it.
All right. Thanks,
Chris.
Talk to you next week. All right. See you next week.
That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. A little nerve-wracking with the hurricane, but it looks like we're going to kind of be in between two.
Sure.
So I
Thread
think
the needle,
we'll be
baby.
good.
It's all good.
It's just this time of the year.
It's Mexico.
It happens.
Yeah, totally.
It happens for sure. Hey, I have a great text here from Michael, and a very, very good question for him too. It's from John in Huntington Beach, and it says, "Good morning, Michael. I'm an old beginner fly fisherman. How do you teach casting skills to a person? Do you have any YouTube tutorials?"
I don't have any YouTube tutorials, and I've been a pretty private person, which for an Irishman, that's pretty crazy. But I've always been a very private person. I don't. If someday, call me up, tell me what any of your concerns are right now, what you have, and maybe we can have a chat over the phone to help you. But one quick story, I had a friend from Newport Beach call me up. Gentleman had been fishing for 60 years and fly fishing. He wanted to get a lesson, and I just said, I'm not your guy because I think you probably got some bad habits, and I'm not there to take your money. And he said, just, if you're catching fish, that's the ultimate. He says, no, I'm getting older, I've got shoulder problems, blah, blah, blah. And so he said, look, everybody says you've been destitute since the day you were born. I said, and I'm cheap too. So he laughed. I said, just give me 2 hours. So he drives up, and he had some bad habits. He was already catching fish. I gave him some homework, and I said, don't call me again until you've accomplished these goals. He called me in less than a month. I said, this is just not happening. So he came up again. He had accomplished all the goals. So I wish I could give you specific tips, because I'd like to look at your cast, or you can send me a video sometime.
I think it's like casting a surface iron rod. It's just practice.
It is. People
right?
just get... I had a good friend go down to the Keys, and I had a good friend who was guiding him. So anyway, the guide calls me. I said, how's he doing? He goes, well, I don't think he practiced. And he said, well, ask him. Before he came on the trip, did you take a lesson from Michael? Yes, I took it a month ago. Michael wants to know, did you practice? I didn't. And again, both really good friends. So I said, do me a favor. He said, sure. Has he already paid you? He goes, he has. I said, grab his rod and push him overboard. He goes, oh, I don't think so. I said, no, do it. You've got his money. He's a good friend. You're a good friend. And I said, he's having trouble. I said, because he didn't practice. So he spends all this money, $1,000 a day, and he doesn't practice. So practice. There was a very well-known person in the fishing industry who called me up and said, I want a lesson. Why? He said, because I'm just starting to bonefish. So he'd been a famous trout fisherman. Bottom line was, we got him going from 40 feet up to 70 feet. Not that you needed to cast that far, but it's just a thing anyway. And he said, it's really different. I said, it becomes second nature when you practice. It's not a big deal to cast any type of distance. So making that transition, is really easy, but people don't want to practice because they say they're too busy. Well, I got it, but you've got to put the time in, but you have to know what you're doing, and you have to look. Every time you cast, you have to say good cast, bad cast, mediocre, whatever.
Right.
I keep thinking about Michael, like, obviously there's so much focus on it right now, brutal week this week, but think about it like professional baseball pitching. The best people in the entire world still have a guy that looks at what they're doing and says, hey, make this adjustment, make that adjustment. And it's probably harder to be one of the best in the world and realize that, things happen, everything happens. Your mechanics change, your grip changes, the ball changes, the condition changes, all those things. So just to have somebody from the outside looking in say, hey, man, let's try and do it this way. And the same thing with a pitching coach. The guy that's on the mound in the playoffs can get just as much benefit as the kid who's learning the craft and everybody in between. Like there's a spot for everybody.
I had a professional baseball player come. We're not going to talk about names anyway, so he's showing me his cast, and he needed a lot of help. And I said, hey, what do you do? I said, relief pitcher. I said, so do you hold your hand up way high when you pitch? No. I said, then why do you hold the rod way up high when you cast? I don't know. So we go through this little drill, and he had a great sense of humor. In his retirement, turned out to be a Montana guy, wonderful guy. And he said, I said, this is really easy. I said, I've been telling you that forever. But somebody else had taught him about, and he would raise his hand as a beginner, and he was catching fish. I said, well, you're accomplishing the goal. I said, I want to be a better caster. But nobody told him, because he was so well known and very intimidating, by the way,
sure. Yeah.
That they were going to tell him how to cast correctly. Well, you're not going to waste my time. I don't care if you paid me.
Sure.
So we corrected, and he was always kind. He said, man, I thought I could do a great job. And, you just meet really interesting people. And what you hope, I said, here's the rule. Pass it on. Just pass it on. Help some child do whatever. But all sorts of people, it never hurts. When I got asked to do expert people, I said, why? He said, somebody very kindly, a well-known tournament caster, said, you seem to see things for some reason that I don't see, or somebody else. I don't know why that is. Maybe because you're crazy. But I appreciate your comments, because you've always been, and we're talking about minuscule,
little teeny things,
little itty-bitty things. So
yeah. So is it more important? So great, I can cast 70 feet, or I can throw a surface iron 100 yards. But is it more important the distance or the accuracy?
Accuracy.
You didn't take any time to answer that.
Yeah.
No, and it's really important, because you can always adjust the stroke, but accuracy is so critical. And that's why when I would tell people who were in the salt water, when I did the Biscayne thing in '61, they were talking about, this guy said, it's windy every day here. So you either cast in the wind or you don't fish. I can do this. After he showed me, I go, oh my gosh, it's like a massive revelation. I went back the following year up to the Arcularis Ranch with my family. Let me have a little lesson and showing everybody how to cast in the wind. So, you get this wise guy, 12-year-old, and I said, it's just really simple. Now, a lot of people still stayed in because it was tradition to take a nap or have dinner or whatever. But I said, it's simple. Again, it's my motto. If it was complicated, I wouldn't do it. I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah. You have a great text, huh?
I thought so. It says, hey, Michael, I'm really enjoying this show. You touched on it a little bit. Could you go into a little more depth? I'm interested in learning how to how to cast under overhanging mangroves with a fly rod.
Okay, so this is something you really need to see me do, but there's a couple ways you can do that. First of all, you know what a tailing loop is, but the logical first thing, other than if it's a gentleman who asked about the pendulum cast, when I go underneath overhang trade, let's just say the line is on the water, completely in front of you, let's just say 30 feet, 35 feet, whatever. I gently pick it up quickly, but I don't make a lot of noise to spook the fish, and I aerialize it. It's still maybe a foot above the water. And then I'll come and do my cast, and then I go over the top of that same line. In other words, a lot of people, when they cast low, they go from top to bottom and they put it in the water. It's not logical. So I said, if you always go from bottom to top, you're never going to hit the water. Assuming your tip top is in the air, you'll tuck it right in there. And that's the easiest thing to do. But I also tell people, go put a piece of yarn on, whatever, and you can do it under a tree, whatever. You don't have to be on the water to practice these things. But more people say, he can't do that. Yeah, I can. Because I was doing stupid stuff. And it wasn't traditional. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Another one from Robert in Canyon Country says, great show. What am I doing wrong? I'm more like Indiana Jones cracking a whip and losing the fly. Very common thing. You hear that crack. Together. You hear the crack on the fly, right?
Well, yeah.
What are they doing wrong?
Well,
what am I doing wrong?
Well, the old speculation was always that when you hear that sound, you're breaking the sound barrier, which probably is true. It's usually you're bringing it back too fast, too quick, and you'll always hear that little snap. In other words, it's headed either going backwards or forwards in a nice direction, and all of a sudden you decide, I want to bring it back the opposite way now. And it's not finished loading the rod up or
going forward.
That's right, or going backwards. So you're going, let's just say back. You're going back, and before it unwinds to the correct length, you bring it forward. Fast, quick, and you're creating a whip. That's what you're doing. That's all you're doing. It's no big deal.
Cracking a whip.
Yeah.
So it's too much power?
It's too much power and too quick. It's very, very quick.
Okay.
One of the exercises I used to do as a kid is that I put some fly line out in front of me, and I would just start to pick it up gently. And if I didn't aerialize the line, I would put it out there again and do it. And I finally learned to have just enough power to completely aerialize it. I never did it from most powerful to least powerful. I did it from virtually no power. It gave me a good sense of the rod, how to use the rod, what the rod was about, because every rod has a personality. And in fly fishing, sometimes it's a little sensitive. Maybe I overthink this, but it worked out well for me. So all of a sudden, when somebody sees me and goes, you just threw the whole fly line and you use no energy. I said, and your point? It's just learning how to use the rod, so that's all.
Yeah. Rick, you have a good one?
I thought so. Well, it says, wow, what a great show, you guys. I'm really enjoying this. I fish nymphs and weighted flies. Michael, how can I avoid hitting the back of my head? That's from Jeff in Mission Viejo.
I got some sore spots there, too. Yeah.
So everybody hits their head, including me. And I'm going to tell you this story because it relates to your question. Anyway, I was fishing with a good famous guide on the Bighorn River, and we were out fishing the bank for big browns, and I had wire-wrapped nymph. So I catch some beautiful fish, and there's no wind going, by the way, and all of a sudden I do my forward cast. I bury this in the back of my head. And so he laughs, and I probably hit my head at around 60 miles an hour. But first of all, do a Belgian cast. If you don't know it, learn it. I constantly talk about that because when somebody asks,
mentioned the Belgian class.
If somebody asks me if I
so you can probably YouTube that, right?
Well, you can.
Belgian cast.
And look at it. It's an oval cast, and if you had to really make it simple, you would come back sideways, parallel to the water, and then come around, and then over the top.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but look at that, and the thing that you're talking about is when you get hit in the back of the head, that's because you told the rod to put the line in the back of your head. So tilt the rod off to the side a little bit.
The side. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you've got
rather than straight over the head.
That's right. Well, and
side.
That's really a good point, Pete, because I was doing a show at Miami Boat Show years ago, and this young man came up to me and said, "Mr. Maloney, you're doing it all wrong." And that's what I said. I said, "Well, if you can help me," I said, "what do you think I should do?" "Well, it should be right over your head." I said, "Are you a trout person?" He goes, "Well, yes," which was strange in Miami. So I said, "And you're off to the side." I said, "Well, I'm a saltwater guy. I keep the flies away from me, especially in windy conditions." So that's all you're doing. When you put it in the back of your head, as you're coming forward, you're either, number one, not having enough energy and it's starting to drop, and it's also right in line with your head. You can be a classical trout fisherman, but to get it over your head every time, you have to have the appropriate amount of power so it doesn't drop and smack you in the head. And I know that feeling. I'm there with you.
That's why this guy's a pro. What a fun show this has been. Hey, when we come back, we're going to find out who's got themselves a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses as well as tickets to the CCA barbecue. Thanks to our friends at CalStar. We got more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Facebook, and YouTube Live.
Looking for the ultimate Alaska fishing experience and the best value in Alaska? Look no further than Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. A trip to Kingfisher includes everything you need to make your experience legendary. The finest fishing fleet in Sitka with the best captains, deluxe accommodations, gourmet food, world-class fish processing, and the best part, it's all included for one amazing price. Kingfisher is Let's Talk Hookup's most popular destination. Hundreds of listeners have experienced Kingfisher Charters, and most go back again and again. You have probably heard a lot of big promises from other Alaska lodges, only to find there were lots of hidden charges. Not Kingfisher. Everything is included. 10-hour fishing days, your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, and fishing gear. All you bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. Kingfisher Charters, your Alaska fishing destination. 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com.
A top fleet and superb fishing is what Seaforth Sport Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, it's no wonder Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, El Gato Dos, Pride, Tribute Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth, Sea-Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or regular open parties, schedule check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Take a closer look at the Ford F-150. You'll see hard work, a great adventure, and so much more. Inside and out, it's designed for the family, the road trip, and the most demanding job. The 2025 Ford F-150, whether it's gas, hybrid, or the all-electric Lightning, find the truck that will meet your needs. From California's best-selling truck brand, the 2025 Super Duty, the rugged Ford Ranger, and the versatile Ford Maverick. It's time to see Ford in a new light. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealer today to see the great selection across the full truck lineup. Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. FishDope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Quintin, 365 days a year. FishDope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have FishDope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code and save $30 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.
The lighter the bite and the cleaner the water means one thing. Need a thinner leader, more natural presentations. That's where Seaguar Gold Label leader material shines. It's Seaguar's thinnest leader material yet. That means it's even less visible underwater and creates more natural presentations for better catch rates on leader-shy fish. With exceptional knot and tinsel strength, this advanced leader material is now available from 2-pound test for fishing trout in the Sierra to 80-pound test for big yellowfin in Guadalupe. Get Seaguar Gold Label at your favorite tackle dealer or learn more at seaguar.com.
Hookup.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. What a fun show this has been. All right, Michael's going to do us the honor of flipping the prize coin. We're going to see who's winning this pair of Costas. Today we have a caller. Congratulations to John in San Diego. You have got yourself a fantastic pair of shades, as well as 2 tickets to that great CCA event with our boys at CalStar at the Compton Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah, again, Michael, fantastic,
So
super
fun,
good
buddy.
information. A different subject for us today, but it was super interesting. If somebody wants to learn from you, how do we do it?
Just give me a call at 805-389-5306 or shoot me an email at maloneyflycasting@gmail.com.
Maloney with a Y.
Yes, Maloney with a Y.
Casting.com.
Absolutely.
All right. And you can always get a hold of me, and I'll put you in touch with Michael.
Absolutely.
Too. Michael,
Thank you for
very
having
much.
me.
Really fun.
Cheer,
Michael.
thanks for
you.
coming. Good luck on
Thanks,
the Shogun
Cheer.
trip. Join Cheer on the Shogun trip. Grab that last spot, shogunsportfishing.com. And join us tomorrow. Rick and I will be back. Ron Lane and Logan from Fast Lane Kayaks will be talking kayaks and fishing and more right here tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m.